Handle your high with Tadayoshi. All right. Hey, well, welcome to the show. Latorya, I haven't talked to you for so long, I'm lost for words.
I know. I feel like it's been forever. I feel like maybe it was last Olympia, or maybe it was even the picture that you posted recently, the one in 2017 or 2018? 2017, yeah.
Gosh, it's been that long, huh? I think
since we've actually sat down and like caught up or talked, but I've seen you in passing.
How you doing? I miss you. I like seeing you on stage the best. But how you doing? I know you got I know there's been a lot of big life changes for you in the last year or so. I think the last 6 or 9 months, right?
Yes, it has. I went through, backing out of Olympia was life changing for a lot of people, I guess. That was big news for some people. But backing out just for self-care, taking care of medical issues that I had. Some people may know, but not a lot may know, so I could address it here. I had fibroids. I had uterine fibroids, which are benign uterine tumors that I actually got diagnosed with back in 2008. But it was more of just kind of fixing the problem, not really curing it, not really wanting to go through major, invasive surgery. So it was something that I got fixed or treated somewhat. It was a procedure known as an embolization, which really just went in and shrunk the tumors, kind of like a temporary fix. So they went in with a catheter through my femoral arteries and implanted particles that would then shrink the blood supply or take out the blood supply and shrink the tumors. Okay. So I was all well and good, from that. The tumor shrunk down and I was able to continue on with life. But as of 2017, it was just like they started being systematic, and just a lot of issues that I was having that I was trying to really just set aside and still continue to push and compete. But then it just really got to me and was like, no more. My body just gave up and was like, no more. So I had to get a procedure done. It was a myomectomy that I needed to get done to actually have those tumors cut out. Like really, my uterus was lifted out, tumors were cut out.
But they didn't give you you didn't get a hysterectomy or anything like that, right?
I didn't have to. No, thank God that my uterus wasn't. It wasn't to that point where they needed to just be like, you know what, we're gonna just take your uterus out, like a lot of doctors do. Yeah. That's what I was so scared of back then.
Oh wow, okay.
I was trying to find like a more non-invasive procedures to do then, but I found the perfect doctor out here in Las Vegas. Thank God. He was wanting to preserve my uterus. He didn't want to give me the hysterectomy. And he was like, I can do this. I said, 23 tumors? He said, I can do it. And he did it. He said, my uterus looks perfect. So that's all that.
Well, that's good. Well, now, is this related to like PCOS, or do you have that condition or anything, or is this unrelated? No. Unrelated? Because sometimes a lot of ladies, I've worked with a lot of ladies over the years who, when they have PCOS, polycystic, ovarian cysts, they'll get these fibroids, they'll get this sort of fibrous material that builds up, and it consistently sort of happens like all throughout their life until they really find a way to control it. Part of it is the estrogen, too much estrogen production, and of course that causes insulin resistance, and so they have a hard time losing weight, all kinds of things. But it doesn't sound like that's really your deal.
I didn't have that condition, but all of the things that came with that, yes. It was a issue of losing weight. It's like I had to work like a lot harder than a lot of people knew. Yeah, twice as hard. So it just was a point. You know what? I need to take time off. I need to take care of myself. It's all about self-care and self-love. You should always put yourself first. And that's really what I was really excited about, to let people know, hey, I'm at the top of my game. Yeah, but I needed to really step back and take care of me. So I hope that's a message for a lot of people out there that's listening today.
Well, yeah, you can't. We can't give to others if we don't give to ourselves first, right? I mean, so
exactly.
You have to be whole first.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
right.
How did this? Now you always knew you kind of had this, or have you had it periodically, or is this something brand new in the last couple of years?
Well, remember I said I was diagnosed with it back in 2008.
Oh, back in 2008. Okay, so this is a fairly new phenomenon.
Back in 2008, and I had the embolization done, as I was saying, and all it did was just kind of suppress and shrink the tumor. So I was okay and felt fine, didn't have symptoms. But as I was saying, in 2017, I started having the symptoms.
Gotcha.
Yep. And I knew that it was time to just get them removed, not continuing to suppress the issue,
Right.
really get down to the root of it. So I did.
Okay. So then what's the prognosis leading forward? Like are you just, you're back training hard and dieting hard and that kind of stuff? Or are you trying to get back to normal, or tell me what your plan is?
Pretty much getting back to normal. I mean, I was out for about 3 months. I had the surgery in December.
Okay.
And was out for 3 months. I really wanted to take that break. I mean, an athlete and all of us is kind of like, all right, I know he says this amount of time, but I really want to push now. But I was like, you know what, for what? You know, what do I really have to prove? Let me just take this time and heal the proper way. And now I'm back to probably about 3 weeks now, maybe if that. I'm back to training. I'm back to slowly getting into a nutrition plan. You know, of course, I'm eating a lot healthier, really trying to take care of myself, but just trying to get back to healthy and really trying to become the best version of me, trying to really work hard and just bring the best version of me. Yeah.
Now, I thought I saw that you had gotten engaged.
I did, yeah.
Was it last summer, or was it? I can't remember when it was. I just saw a post that you did, and I liked it. I read it. So I can't remember when that was, when you broke that news. Do you remember?
Wait, are you there?
Yeah.
You kind of broke up a little bit. Oh, yeah. Yes, I did. I got engaged last year.
Okay, that's what I thought. When is you guys got engaged last year? But have you guys planned a date yet? You and your fiance?
We got engaged and we got married.
Oh wow! God, am I behind the ball or what? Damn, jeez.
I don't know. I don't think it was anything that I actually put out. I mean, the engagement was more like, all right, you know, let people in a little bit. I don't really put myself out there to see some stuff about, just see a part of my life, pretty much. That's what it was. But as far as everything else, I don't put that much out there, So you didn't miss it. I didn't post it. You didn't miss it.
Man, did I miss something, man? I thought I did. I'm like, shit. Well, a lot of people got a lot of stuff going on, and everybody's always interested in that kind of stuff. And to me personally, I'm always the most interested in the personal stuff. Not to be intrusive, but because I'm interested in the people themselves. I'm interested in you as a friend. I'm interested in your well-being as well as everybody that you're around and that kind of stuff. So that's why I ask. And I'm also very, very happy, and congratulations, for that kind of thing. I mean, you guys. And if you don't, who is your husband now? What's his name?
His name is Chris.
Chris. Okay, cool. Well, congratulations to you and Chris then, formerly.
Thank you so much.
Did you guys go somewhere? For a honeymoon or something, or you guys got something planned?
Not yet. We do have something planned. Okay, yes.
Good.
Later on in the year, after I tackle some things I want to take care of this year.
Okay, cool. What is on the agenda for you from a competitive standpoint? Are you back looking at positioning yourself for some shows, or tell me what you're going to do?
I want to. I don't have anything set in stone, nothing planned as of yet. It was more of me just getting back into shape, just me getting back into the routine and the rhythm of things, and then planning from there.
Okay. I told you this before. The first time that we talked was at the New York Pro. Was the Team Universe, I think, when you won your pro card, I think. I can't remember. What was that?
USA's?
Or USA's. I can't remember but I think the first time I actually sat down and talked to you was when you won the New York. Was the New York Pro? It was New York Pro the first time, and you didn't think. And I said, "Hey, you're gonna be the Olympia champion. I just know it." And you said, "Oh, you really think so?" And I said, "Yeah, I really think so."
So I was like, "No way!" You probably said that to everybody.
No, I don't say it to everybody. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking at the time. I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure."
No, I still maintain that I still think that you have one of the most beautiful physiques in figure that I've ever seen, and I really, 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 really hope you really make some good strides this year. Get back on stage, get your footing back, and get comfortable. If that's what you want to do. If it's not what you want to do, hey man, I just want blessings on you always. That's all.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I would love to step back on stage again. Absolutely.
I think last time when I had my show 3 Questions, I had you on, and I think when we talked, I can't remember. You were doing some stuff in your other parts of your life and your career. What kind are you full-fledged doing your stuff with fitness, or do you have other career kinds of options that you're doing, that you're exercising?
I'm all over the place. I can never make up my mind. But right now, it's mainly fitness.
Okay.
I really want to try to keep the camps going that I've been doing right now, and just still trying to find ways to give back. You know, really continuing to inspire a lot of people that look up to me, fans of the sport, competitors that are coming up. That's my main goal and focus right now.
Now, when I always focus a lot on, I always ask questions about mindset and about perspectives, about the perspectives of the champions, and it's so important because people who achieve something really wonderful like you have, something great, and who continue to achieve wonderful things in their life, they generally have a unique perspective, a perspective that and there tends to be some similarities. But I can only imagine that having the kinds of challenges the last 2 years or so that you've had with your health and things, how did that affect your mindset towards yourself and towards your body, and especially with your body? Because I can only imagine if my body was failing me, I would be like going, "Oh my God, what did I do?"
Exactly. I thought it was just punishing me pretty much for not really taking care of myself in the beginning, just because the sport does do something to you, and being at the top does something to you, right? You just want to keep going and going and going and going. So I just felt like I needed that. All the things that have happened and all the things that have taken place were meant to happen. It was meant to happen for me to take a step back, for me to take that break and just kind of give gratitude to what I have accomplished, you know, the things that I have, because you do get caught up and you forget to be grateful. And so I needed these things to happen for me to really sit back and just appreciate what I've done and to share my journey and to, you know, inspire other people. That's really what it was for me. But I totally was like, oh my God, what is going on? Am I never gonna compete again? Am I, you know, and that shouldn't be the first thing I think of. The first thing I should have thought of was, oh my God, what's going on? You know, I want to be healthy, but it wasn't. It was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do now? So just having that time to really reflect, it was all meant to be. That's really how I take it. And it was meant to be because now I'm gonna come back even better. At the time I won, at the time you told me when we saw each other in New York, you're going to be Miss Olympia. Okay. The only reason why I kind of doubted a lot of people that said that is because I wasn't ready. I thought I wasn't ready. I was just kind of, you know, getting in the swing of things, really trying to know my body. So for me to have won at that time, it was like, okay, I'm done. I guess this is where my body is supposed to be. I guess this is where I should be mentally and physically. Okay, right here. So now having this break and having this time away, it's like, no, I'm meant to, now I can push. I can really show my full potential being healthy. I was always fighting something back then. Now I don't have to fight. Now I can come back 100% Latorya now.
So we haven't really even seen you at 100% then. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, everybody says stuff like that. Oh, I'm going to be the best now. Like they always say, oh, you haven't seen 100% yet, but this truly, we haven't seen you 100%.
It's true. I mean, it was just my body was fighting against it, but now it's like there's nothing, you know, nothing there. That's why I say I'm just going to take my time into it. I'm not going to say, yeah, I'm coming back and I'm going to do this. No, I'm just going to take my time and get healthy or continue to be healthy and, you know, get in shape and be my best, and we'll see what happens from there.
Now, what do you think about when I'm originally, I think, actually the year after that, I think when I first saw you compete at the Arnold, I think it was, I think you won that year. I can't remember.
My first Arnold?
Yeah, I think it was like 2016 or 17, maybe.
16 was when I won. Yes, that was my second Arnold and the first time I won. Yes.
And you competed with Sydney there, right? Or was that the next?
You know what? I think me and Sydney have both competed at the same time. I think she competed in 2014. That was my very first one. She did the same. My very first Olympia was 2015, and she was there at the same time. So we've competed together every time.
I think because I met her, you introduced me to her. Do you remember?
I don't remember. Was it at the expo?
It was at the Arnold. It was coming out of the auditorium, and I just happened to be, we just happened to pass each other, and I said hi, and we talked, and you introduced me to her.
I do remember. It was after finals.
Yes, exactly. And so what do you think of her success now? I'm sure you talked to her and stuff. I think she's a sweetheart. I think she's awesome as a figure champion. I think she's done a wonderful job. But I'm sure you probably had some conversations, but what do you think? It's really not, and the reason why I asked that is because champions tend to kind of group to cluster together like birds. So it doesn't surprise me that that you guys would be friends, that you guys would know each other, that you would influence her, and that she would be the next Figure Olympia champion, so to speak. So what have you
Absolutely.
I was just curious of what you've thought about her success and have you gotten a chance to talk to her and so forth?
I have, and I think it's awesome. And every time she wins, I reach out to her. If I'm not there physically in front of her, I would reach out to her and congratulate her. But it's not a surprise. It was definitely going to happen. She improves every time. She looks great. She has that physique. I mean, she, like I said, competed with me. Candace competed with me. It was some reasons, I don't know why they never really got the acknowledgement that they deserved at that time.
Well, there's always a momentum that you have to build, I believe. Every physique, especially new physiques. So
that's true.
So when new physiques come around, it takes a couple years for our judges to truly appreciate everything about them, and then of course for them to mature. Oftentimes, sometimes not. Sometimes if they come out like Phil or like you guys have these very cartoonish, very very sort of picturesque sort of physiques that look like out of a cartoon, then it's a little easier. It's something that's very different. But other people need a little bit of time to gain momentum, and that's what she did.
Right. And that's exactly what she did. Yeah. And I know that they have their eye on her and, of course, saw the improvements every time she steps on that stage. So I think it's awesome.
Yes.
I mean, the motivation that she gives and just the inspiration that she gives, even to me, it's like, wow, look at her. Look at the improvement. Look at the hard work that she's really putting into this. She deserves everything.
Yeah. When I interviewed her, it was kind of funny because she's not that old. And she has such a wonderful, mature mindset for being right where she's at. I really appreciate that about her. We all start in this world in different places, and she's had some really great mentors like yourself, but like her coaches and her track and field coaches and stuff like that, who really have given her a really wonderful skill set to be able to tackle all these problems and or all these like challenges that we face as athletes and as people. So for you, like she uses mindfulness and that kind of stuff in her daily practices, while she has her own unique sort of form of meditation. I asked her about it because I'm all into meditation and stuff and I love it. And she says, I meditate every time I eat. She said, I sit down, I tell everybody around me, don't talk to me, don't expect me to respond, because when I'm eating, this is my form of meditation. It's a form of mindfulness for her, where she focuses on her moment, on just enjoying her food, and she gets to do it like 6 times a day. So
that makes sense. That makes sense because I went out with her last year while she was eating. Like I think she probably ordered like 4 different style of pancakes, and when they came out, I mean, all that catching up and all that talking we were doing was just done. So now I get it. I see why now.
She says sometimes she doesn't say nothing, but usually she says, that's what I do. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I never thought of this. So do you have something like that? I don't know if you're into mindfulness or meditation or anything like that.
Oh, absolutely. I do it first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning, I get myself together. I get my thoughts together just so I could just tackle the day and make sure the day goes smoothly. So that's what I like to do.
Okay, good. Yeah, I do the same thing. I like to meditate in the morning. I do it every day, and sometimes I even do it when I go to bed. If I feel really stressed out, I'll do it in the middle of the day. It's my main concern every day to always feel good, or feel as good as I can. And the best way I know how to do that is keep my mind off all the crap.
That's it, and it's hard to do, right?
It's very hard, especially in today's world of social media and how much communication that we all really get. I mean. I look back today and I think, and I'm interested in your 2 cents on this, because being in the spotlight of sorts, where you have a lot of fans, you have people probably always trying to interact with you, that there is a ton, you get like bombarded with a lot of, and inundated with a lot of interaction, and some of it's good and some of it's not so good. You know what I mean? So how do you handle that? How do you work with that these days?
A lot of it is good for me, thank God. But the things that I feel like that may not be, I just find a way to kind of get around it. I just find a way to shorten that conversation or really distance myself from that situation. I just have a way of doing it. I don't know if it's just my personality or my sarcasm.
Whoops, you there? Yep, there we go. We're back. Go ahead. Say it again. You said you don't know if it's your sarcasm or your or something.
I don't know if you can.
I can hear you. Yeah. Whoops. You there? Reconnecting. Okay, we're reconnecting. Oops, sorry, back. Sorry, I don't know what happened. We lost our connections.
Totally lost it.
Okay, go. So you were saying your sarcasm or what?
Yeah, I was saying I don't know if it's my personality that helps me out, or like I was saying, a little bit of sarcasm when I do come into interaction with someone just with a negative energy. Just find my way to distance myself from it.
Does and like my guess is you probably get for the most part you probably get pretty good interactions. I get pretty good interactions. Every blue moon I'll get something weird, strange, but not usually. But I think it's because the kind of audiences that you attract and that I attract. We all have an energy about us, and everybody who knows me knows like I'm just about being positive and being happy and being loving, and I don't really have too much energy for too much else. It's like too much.
It's true.
So,
but I'm sure that's something you manifest, though. You manifest that you interact with good people and positive energy, I'm sure, throughout the day. So that helps out.
Yeah, I try to, I realize that it's up to me, it's my responsibility to find in every moment the good stuff. I can wait for it. Then it's a little more precarious. It's like, because sometimes it'll come to me quick, and sometimes I got to work through some other stuff to get to it, and sometimes it's hiding. I like to find the stuff that's hiding. That's my favorite because
so it is. It's always hiding. It is.
Yeah.
You just gotta have the energy to really dig down deep and get it.
Yeah, and I found that so I've been meditating now for about 7 or so years. I found that the longer that I meditated, I wish somebody would have told me the power of this when I was growing up, like when I was a kid, when I was.
You should have that.
It just wasn't that popular, I think, and I think it's so demystified now. It's not a religious thing or a spiritual thing necessarily. It's more of a personal thing. It's more of a wellness, something that increases our wellness, helps us cope with our realities. And boy, but if I would have known what I know today, I would have started this years ago. But as I've noticed it's easier. I don't know, maybe this is something for you too, if this is your experience as well, but it's easier to spot out some of the things where I think I used to want to blame my attitude on other people, on other things, and now I so easily see that it's me.
It's always been
me.
You are in control. Yeah.
It's always when I get upset. It's not because somebody else did something to me or said something to me or wronged me in some way. It's because I'm trying to take that in myself. I don't have to accept it, right? Like, so is that do you have that similar kind of philosophy for you in your life?
Oh, always. Like I'll get really upset. I can get upset pretty quickly about certain things. But then, I'll just take a step back and just be like, oh, that shouldn't have gotten me that angry or it shouldn't have like just had an effect on me like that. So I'll just go back and I'm like, all right, I try to control myself. I'll say something to myself and I'm back to normal. But you just have to catch yourself. You just have to be so in tune with yourself that you can catch it. A lot of people can't.
Yeah, I think there's a level of awareness that you need to have, right? And I think, and sometimes, and to me, I've been saying that a lot recently. Like awareness is everything. Like just you don't have to have the solutions for anything. You just have to be aware, and then that your life will point you towards the things that you want.
Absolutely, I agree.
I was watching. I went to the movies this weekend and I saw Avengers, and of course I'm a big comic book fan, but I kept thinking to myself, and I always think this whenever I see these comic movies, I think, man, they should have some people in our industry in here because we look so much better than these people.
Right?
I thought
exactly. They got to add the prosthetics and add all this. We can totally do that.
We got people with abs and great legs and glutes and arms and everything. So but they instead we got to wear a plastic suit. Really? But I always think that. One of the amazing things about this these days, today, contemporary movie making, which I absolutely is one of my passions. If I could do something else in life, it would be totally making movies because I love storytelling. But I think with all this, how good the special effects has gotten. I remember growing up watching these same kinds of kind of movies that were. Well, they were like B movies. They were bad. They were really bad. And now they're so good. And it's like, wow, man, they're so good. And I wish that it's kind of interesting. It would be nice. I think that I was talking, who did I have on the show? Breon Ansley. And we were talking. I didn't know that he was an actor. I didn't even know that he's played in stuff. Yeah, he's got a movie coming out this summer. They're not big ones, but he's had some, like he said, he was in one of the Fast and Furious movies as he had some speaking roles, but he was an extra character in there, and
awesome,
and some other commercials, and he said people recognize him. But he said once he got a little bigger, he said it was very difficult because
that's so. I've been hearing that. I see why The Rock has really come down a lot.
Yeah, but I saw some stuff recently. He looks big. He looks bigger. Like recently, I thought maybe he was like beefing up for a role or something. I don't know, but he's an exception, right? Like,
that's true. He can kind of do whatever he wants and look however he wants to. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so it would be nice to see the film industry sort of. Well, I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see more people embracing many of the people in our industry because of social media, because we have so many wonderful people and so many wonderful personalities. And also, it's real life. Like you don't have to make it up. This is real. Like we're real.
This is us. Yep, we are. Yep, that's true.
Now you still live in Vegas, right?
I do. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be in Vegas in like a little less than 2 weeks for EDC. So I go to these things.
Oh shoot!
Yeah,
that's insane. I remember that. I remember you came for the first time a few years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago I went for the first time. They had it in June, in like mid June or something. And it's like super hot at night. Like it was like 100 degrees at midnight.
Yeah.
But I guess this time it's going to be in May this month, so it's going to be cooler. So I guess it'll be nicer. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's going to be May 18th, 19th, 20th. I just had a girlfriend I just got off the phone with saying she was going to be here for that.
Oh, cool. I don't know if you get into all the music stuff, but I love it. I absolutely anything that can bring me to my joy. Amen. That's it. So me and my joy tribe, my buddy and a couple friends, we're going to go and we're going to just hang out and just listen to music and dance and have fun. So
that's so fun. Now I was hearing they have like tents and stuff set up there, right?
Yeah. So EDC is like a Electric Daisy Carnival. They're one of the big promoters of all these festivals. They have several festivals all over the world. This is the big one in Vegas. This is the big one. Big in the sense that it attracts some of the most people. It has like I think a couple 100,000 people that sort of converge on Vegas over that 3-day weekend. And it's like an amazing money-making machine for them. It's just,
yeah.
I mean, there wasn't that many years ago where these things were really just sort of what we used to call raves. I don't know if you remember that or not. They called them,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, in the 90s they had raves and stuff, and they were like pretty much in like fields or in like warehouses, and then it just sort of progressed to what we have now, these big festivals where it's just. But this one has like I think 9 stages. They have it there at the Speedway. So there's like, I think 9 different stages. So you can play, you can have several different DJs playing. And I really dig that because you can choose if you want to listen to like dubstep or you want to listen to like trance or you want to listen, then you can go to the appropriate stage and they have their lineup of DJs. And I usually hang out the trance stuff because I like the trance stuff and I like all the shuffle stuff and the dance stuff. So that's me though.
So you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, and I get a lot of cardio in that weekend because I bet you just dance, you just sit there and dance all day. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's all just about the music and the dancing. So it's
good.
Yeah, to me, I like it better than going to clubs because when I go to a club, it's all about picking people up, and I don't really dig that. That's not really my scene. I'm not there to do that. Mm-hmm. I'm there to dance and to listen and have fun. So this particular one is I went to Ultra in Miami, and the scene is a little different. And this one, the scene's more about the music. It's more about joy. It's more about, just the sort of all, and that's what, kind of the enjoyment of the music. So that's what it's all about for me. So I'm kind of excited about that. I
bet you are.
Yeah. So, but do you go to anything like that? What do you do for fun these days?
I have never been to EDC. I always want to go to EDC. It never worked out because I was always prepping for Olympia at that time.
Oh, that's
but
funny.
I was like, I want to go to EDC one time and experience it. I just hear so many crazy things, and you're right. It was always in June, so it was always too hot. I know what it's like to be out there in 100 degrees. So I was like, I don't think I can deal with that. But I do want to go one year and dress up really cute like all the girls do. And
it's awesome.
I don't know, we'll see.
You just kind of go nuts. You kind of can leave your personality at home and take on a new personality.
You have to know who you are. You can wear masks, right? You can disguise yourself. It's fun. Yeah. I'm definitely going to try to do it one year.
I've seen these cool shirts and shoes and hats and stuff that light up and do all this stuff that you can get. They're pretty cool. I don't do anything extravagant. I just usually put on some shorts, a tank top, and do that. But my buddy, he dresses up like, I think he went to Krusty the Clown one year. It's like, yeah. So there's a lot of like you said.
So you have to post pictures or at least take some pictures. Even if you don't dress up, I got to see what your friend's doing this year.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he told me what he was doing, but I couldn't quite. He's like, he wanted to know if I wanted to borrow his Krusty the Clown. I said, no, man. I said, I'm not going to be Krusty the Clown because you got to wear this headpiece. And I don't want to carry that around.
Oh my gosh, and that makes you even hotter, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm like, nah, it's okay. I'll skip out on that, but maybe I'll just go and put a Superman costume on.
Yeah, maybe install like a fan inside.
Yeah, but what now? Being in Vegas, I grew up in Vegas, and when I grew up in Vegas, there was not really a lot to do, except for but as an adult, there's a ton of stuff to do, of course. What do you do for fun these days in Vegas? What do you do? What do you like to do? Do you like to? I know if you like to go to music concerts, or they have a lot of them there.
We have so many shows, so many concerts, so I'm always partaking in that. I mean, especially with we have our minor league baseball team here now, Aviators. We have our major hockey league now, Vegas Golden Knights. So I get to see stuff like that. I go for hikes out here because you can always go up to Mount Charleston or Red Rock, or there's even trails that's not too far away from the house. So there's a lot of little fun adventures that you can do with friends and family, away from the strip. There's a lot to do off the strip if people really took the time to, stay around after they had their fun on the strip and kind of adventured out. And Lake Mead, you can hit up Lake Mead now. They have like a big water area, a water park, and they have a lot of activities out there now during the summer. So it's fun. Oh, wow. It can be fun if you really just think outside the box and get away from the strip.
I think I remember when I was growing up, we went to Red Rock Canyon once, and that was pretty cool. Except I had to throw my shoes away. Those things, the red dirt, the heme, the iron in the man, it just like jacks your shoes. So,
you gotta be careful. You gotta wear your like hiking boots or your shoes that you don't care about when you go there.
But I have seen some pretty cool photo shoots that people have done. Like I think Dan Ray's done a bunch up there. A lot of other photographers have done a bunch up there with a lot of athletes over the years. It's pretty cool because the red sand. It's really cool.
It's the red background. I've done a photo shoot with Dan Ray out there.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So now, what was I have to ask, like through this the last year or two of you going through all this stuff, like what was the biggest lesson? Like what did you learn the most? That was the most important thing that you learned in the last, like, say, year or two going through this process. What was the most, like, maybe is it in your diet, or maybe even just personally, like what was the most that you could share with us?
Well, as I was saying earlier, before, some of the things that I was going through when all this happened was just more being mindful, and really taking that time to be grateful. Because as I said, you can get caught up in a lot of things that you're doing and forget that part. Forget all the things that you've accomplished or achieved, or the lives that you touched along the way of any journey that you take. So those are the things that I got to really sit back and be like, wow, okay. And then just being okay with where I am. We always want to look ahead, right? And we always want to do that and become this or achieve this, but you have to be okay where you are now in order to move forward. So those are the things that I really got to, sit back and take in.
Yeah, that's kind of funny you say that, because I am a huge fan of Eckhart Tolle, and I don't know if you know who Eckhart Tolle is. He's a philosopher of sorts. He's written a lot of books and very famous. I follow. He's also on Instagram. He posts stuff, but he's a big. Most of what he writes about, and most of what he talks about, is about being present, about presence. It's about mindfulness and about being present. He's got a wonderful. But what you just described is a lot of what he has to say about being in your moment and realizing that happiness and joy is right here. There's no it's right here. It's not somewhere in the future. It's not somewhere in the past. And that's a hard concept. Right now. That's a hard concept, especially for a successful athlete who's used to looking at what's going on over there, over the hill, so to speak, or on top of the hill. How have you negotiated that? Especially since how you had to take a little bit of time off from competing. Because when I was an athlete, I mean, my competitions were very much a big part of my joy, going through the process, dieting. And when I retired a couple years ago, man, I had to really overhaul my own identity about how I saw myself and my own. Wow. And so because I went through a little bit of a depression because of it, because for 30 something years, I had been, about 30 years, saw myself as a competitive athlete. That's even though I coached as well, in my head, my own ego said, Tad, you're an athlete. Tad, this is what really excites you. You need to be on stage at least a couple of times a year to be able to, and when I wasn't anymore, that was a hard one. That's why I turned to judging. That's why I started doing all this. But what for you, just taking a break, even though you may know you're going to come back to competition, that's still, how did you negotiate that sort of woods of your own ego when you look at, okay, well, I got to take this time off to take care of myself, but my body
Right.
and your body's not looking like it used to look or what
Right.
it once did. And it's probably changing fast too. So,
Oh my God. But it messes with you. Like,
Yeah.
like you were saying before, it just messes with you mentally. And it's like, it does kind of put you in that area of depression,
yeah.
right? It just puts you there because it's like, okay, well, I was so successful at this. I was at the top. Why am I, why did these things have to happen? Or why did this, part of my life have to happen at this time? Now I have to take a step back and it's all the thought in the back of your head, can I get back to that point? But then you have to think about, well, wow, I was able to get there.
Yeah.
So of course you have to believe that you're able to get back, but you still have that little bit of doubt. Just me, partaking in a lot of things in my life before bodybuilding and giving up, like going into certain, just taking on certain jobs or taking on certain courses in school or wanting to achieve this certain degree in school and kind of just taking that step back because of boredom. And that's just how I was. I was like, all right, I'm done. Or, oh, okay, I'll try this. Okay, I'm done. So to be into something like bodybuilding and be so successful at it, it really messed with you because it's like, all right, this was something I decided to stick with. Being one of the hardest things to do, sticking to that diet, the discipline, the dedication, the sacrifice, me, challenging myself and succeeding and striving. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's all over now. So it really does. It does mess with you. It definitely does mess with you. But then again, like I said, you just have to take that time and kind of just be with yourself, be with your thoughts and meditate and manifest the things that you want in life. And it helps you from that point. Because again, you have to be present, right? You have to acknowledge and know where you are in the moment and know that you can get back to that. If I was able to achieve this and be so successful at this, what else would I be able to do? But I have to be okay and be happy now. I was a happy person and very successful before this. So why would that change? But again, it just messes with you.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, especially when you're defining yourself a certain way, you don't realize it. Like I did the same thing, and I did the same exact thing in my relationships, in my marriages, and that was the hardest part about that. I kind of got hit both at the same time myself, like retiring from bodybuilding and a divorce kind of happened within the same year.
Wow.
And so that was probably a double whammy. Probably, it was kind of a double.
But I think so.
But it was a good double whammy when I look at it today. It felt bad at the time, but today,
at the time,
yeah,
that's the thing. At the time, it's the worst thing ever. But now you're like, oh, okay, I get it. I get why that happened.
And I also could say I get why that was so good for my life today. I couldn't say that like 2-3 years ago. I've been like, this sucks. I was like, and I tried very hard to put myself in good states and to remind myself, and that's just all part of the battle, right? That's part of the human battle.
It is a battle, yeah, it definitely is.
But that was difficult, and I think one of the things that helped me was exactly what you said, reminding myself to be in my moment, meditating, and really take stock in where I'm at, right now, because I think we live so much of us. We live in our futures or in our past so often.
Yeah, we do. We do very often.
I mean, I hear about it. You can't help but scan through social media and see so much of it about where I'm going to be, what's going to happen. Instead of right now, it's like I'm doing it. Like right now, my biggest writing exercise when I meditate. So I write when I journal and stuff. And my biggest piece in these days is I'll take stock of what's going on right now. Drinking my tea, enjoying how it feels on my body, being in my moment, not worried about what's going on in like 10 minutes from now, or what to-do list I have, or who says this, or whatever. That is hard, man. That is hard sometimes, especially when you got a lot of stuff going on, or when the whole world's kind of pulling at you in different directions. I totally get it. When you look at your days, how do your days flow? Do you use this kind of modality or these kinds of things or is this easier for you? Because sometimes I look at people like yourself or other people, I think, I bet you it's easier for them.
And of course, I think the same thing when I'm outside looking in. It's like, yeah, it must be easy for them. But you just take it day by day. You take that day that you're given, and you just take it. Take that second by second, that minute or that hour by hour. You just have to just take it all in stride, right?
Right. Yes.
And nothing's easy. nothing's easy if you want to really succeed at something or achieve something. You know, it's all a challenge. That's how.
Now, does
yeah, right.
I would imagine you've got some really good support from your fans and stuff like that through this process.
Yes, and that's the thing you have to think about as well. It's like all these people that are surrounding me, or all the people that support me, my fans, my family, my friends. It's like, wow, that's what matters. That's what's important. You know, they definitely help you.
Yeah, there's they say that if you have 3 people in your life that you can talk to, that you can lean on, that will come to you when you have a need, that you're amongst the minority. That very few people have more than 1 or 2. And they say that when I read a study on happiness, and they said that the commonality between the people who were the most happy were that they had 3 people that they could call, they could rely on, or that would come to them in their aid if they ever got down. Or if they got, and they said it didn't rely on money, it didn't rely on anything where they lived, or it relied predominantly on, did they have people that they could interact with in a positive way that would help them, that would uplift them. They didn't have to give them money, they just had to uplift them, they just had to be there and support them emotionally, and to let them know, you're not in this alone. And that's the biggest message that we probably all, I have to remind myself of that too, because in this life, we're kind of doing it by ourselves, so to speak. Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of contributing factors. We have a lot of contributing forces that help us. None of us are in a vacuum, but it feels like we're in a vacuum sometimes.
Yes, it does. It does. But again, going back to what you said, it's like, wow, now I get it. You know, if you're saying those 3 people that you need, well, I have more than that. And so I see why I was able to keep going and be okay.
What's the most exciting thing looking in your future these days? Like right now, what are you most excited about? I know you said you like doing your camps, your boot camps. You have a lot of boot camps. Tell me about that. Like, I think you mentioned to me before, but I don't know much about exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
Okay.
But I have traveled internationally and put on some camps. I've been doing camps here, really based on just women empowerment. That's what I really want to do. So I like to open it up to all fitness levels, you know, all backgrounds, all lifestyles. That's what I really want to, you know, really attack. A lot of the competitors, of course, you know, they are a part of this. They can be a part of this. But there's a lot of my friends. I pay attention to my friends now. There's camps that I'll put on and my friends will be like, oh, sounds fun, I'm not going to go. And I would ask, like, why? They're like, look at you. You know, I'm sure you're going to kill me. I'm sure you work hard. I'm sure you do this. But I'm like, no, that's not what it's about. So I really want to focus on them because of that mentality that they have with me. Looking at me, it's like, oh, no, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be too hard. It's going to be too challenging. But that's what it's about. Come and you know, surprise yourself. Let's empower each other. That's what I want to do. I was just saying that's what I want to do.
I was going to say, it's kind of ironic as you described this. It's kind of ironic that your success is actually getting in the way of making people want to contribute to this boot camp.
It's so true.
They're like, I don't want to work out at Miss Olympia.
Yes. So I'm like, should I continue to compete or should I just stay out of that so I can attract more people? But no, I don't want to stop doing the things that I love. But I do want to really just bring women together. That's my focus right now.
I think that's wonderful. I was raised in a single mom, my mother was a single woman, raising my brother and I so I have a particular soft spot in my heart for women because I saw my mother's challenges growing up. She was denied raises and advancement in her job and stuff like that, all because she was a woman. And she was a woman and she was heavy. She wasn't a small woman. She was a little overweight. But somehow she always provided a really wonderful, warm and loving and secure environment for my brother and I. And so, but I did see those challenges, and I have a daughter, and that's that piece, what you're kind of describing, this empowerment, this sort of ability to feel our own power, is what I do my best to raise my daughter with that sensibility, because I want her to know that we're all in this together, but it's up to you. Yep. It's up to you to make what you want of it.
At the end of the day, it is. It's up to you. Exactly.
So, now, are you guys going to ever have children or anything like that? Like, speaking of kids, like, I have to ask. Like, I imagine you probably will at some point, right? Maybe.
Yes. With the surgery, everything had to kind of be put on hold as of now. But in the future, that's what I want. I definitely want kids.
I think
I don't know about kids plural, but I want to say that.
Well, I'll tell you, like, they say that they get easier, but I don't know about that crap. I don't.
You only have one daughter, right?
I just have the one, and I'm very happy with the one.
Is she happy? Is she happy with just being an only child?
Yeah, she is. She did tell me once. She said, "Oh, would you ever have another child, Daddy?" I said, "Well, I'm pretty good with you," but I said, "But I wouldn't turn it away if it came my way. You know, I'm not planning on it. I'm not planning on it, but I would love any child that came to me. Absolutely. It's just there's no doubt about it." Yeah. But she said, "Would I be your favorite still?" I said, "I said you're always my favorite. You're always my favorite." There's something.
Well, me being an only child, it's like I turned out okay. So just having one should be fine.
Yeah. Of course, man. Like, of course. Now, are you close with your father? Are you close? Do you have a close relationship with your father, or are you closer to your mother?
I am. I would say I'm close with both. My father passed away back in 2001.
Okay.
So I have my stepdad and my mom, but I'm close to both of them. Yeah, and all my parents and my parents' parents, like my grandparents, my cousins, all of them still live in Georgia. So I'm close with pretty much everybody. Yeah.
I knew I liked you for some reason, Georgia. I just love like the Atlanta, Georgia area. You don't have any accent, but I love the Southern draw. I just love that Southern accent.
Oh yeah. Oh, I have it when I'm on the phone with my mom or my grandma. It's pretty funny how it just flips on.
Really? I went to it was last year. I think I judged a show in like Tennessee or something, in Nashville, and oh my God, I fell in love with that place. Like that place. Like I don't know if you've ever been to Nashville. I love it. I just love the people, the Southern hospitality. There's something to do that with Southern hospitality in Georgia, in Mississippi, all these places in the South. They seem to have a very reminiscent, sort of very, really warm sensibility, especially when it comes to strangers and people in general.
It's different.
It's different, and it's just like
different. It's different. So I think that's what, going back to when I said I can get mad very easily with people just because of I don't know, just the manners. If you have a lack of manners, oh my God, just because that's how I was raised, right?
Absolutely.
I believe in ma'am and sir and excuse me and I'm sorry, but you don't see that anymore, really.
You know, I have made this comment before too, and so I'm glad you say this, because I grew up, I was not allowed to touch shit unless I asked. I was not allowed to get to remove myself from the table after I get done eating unless my mother excused me. I had to say please, I had to say thank you, and now I do it automatically. I request my daughter to do it because I want her to have good manners. I want her to be respectful of others. And people are always demanding. I love when I hear that people are always demanding respect. You need to respect me. Well, respect is given because you've given it first. Yeah, you've got to. So that's probably a lot of. I think I get that because my mother and my grandmother and that side of the family is all from the South. They're all. Yeah. So it definitely comes from that. In fact, my mother went to. When my mother was growing up, she went to finishing school. Like with the book on your head and all that stuff, like that. So there was like my mother grew up in a rigid, very conservative sort of environment. And my
very
grandmother.
hardcore, huh?
Yes, like I remember I lived with my grandmother, her mother, when last year she was alive in college. And I remember her telling me every Friday night. I'm 18 years old. I'd go out Friday and Saturday night with my friends in college, and we'd go party and do it. And she'd say, "Dad," I didn't drink at the time. I just went out with them, because I was a bodybuilder. And she said, "Dad, do you have to go howl the moon every weekend?" I said, "Yeah."
Yes, I do.
As a matter of fact, I do. So, but now. Where did you go to school? I know you went somewhere there, right? Did you go to UNLV or somewhere? I can't remember. I think you told me before.
Yes, I went to Cheyenne High School here. Okay. Community college here of Southern Nevada and UNLV. Yes.
Okay, cool. What did you study? Do you use any of it now?
No, but I've been thinking about going back. I was going for my nursing.
Oh, that's right. I think you told me that. Yeah.
Yep. I was going for my nursing. Yep. And then I kind of got bored with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. That's why I was like, I'm quick to give up on things if I get bored easily. So for me to be in something like this and be successful, it was kind of a blow to me that I had to step back.
You're like, hey man, just got some momentum here.
It's been years.
Well, you'd be surprised. I think there's some, I can't remember. I read something somewhere, but people have this kind of personality trait where they're, and they were saying something positive about it. I can't remember what it was, but that surprises me because you don't strike me as. a person that gets bored. But I believe you. I just don't. And it's because what it takes to become successful in bodybuilding.
You know what? I realize I find just being older and just really just being mindful. I know what it is now. It's just if it doesn't challenge me,
you get bored.
It's boring.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, because I went through all my nursing courses. It got down to me applying for the nursing school, and I was like,
no,
you know, that's what it was. But that was a while ago. That was like right after high school and getting into the program. Because at the time, I was kind of following behind some friends that had graduated and was in the medical field. Right. So I just kind of took steps after them and was like, oh, maybe I should be in the hospital, or maybe I should be in nursing school. But it was something always in me that was like, not that I didn't want to help people, because of course I did. And that's why I'm having these thoughts of even going back to school just to finish. But it wasn't about that. It just was like, I couldn't see myself just being confined in a place. I felt like I needed to be out doing something, but I just didn't know what it was at the time. You
have the attitude of the contemporary generation, which I think is really wonderful for what I call expansion. It's this expanded sensibility. It's like the old days of like, you grow up, you go to high school, you go to college, you get a job, you have 2 kids and a dog and a house, and you live happily ever after. Of course, you and I both know that doesn't even really happen in real life. Like, not really. So, but today it's like there's all these different ideas about, well, we can do so much more now. We don't need to go to a regular 9 to 5. I'm so glad we live in a world now like this. I'm so glad that my daughter gets to grow up in a world where I don't have to tell her, like, hey, you go out, you grow up, and you. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so my connection here is a little goofy. So I'm so glad that my daughter gets to grow up in this really this world where she could have more options at her disposal.
You there?
Oh yeah. Sorry, can you hear me now? Yeah. So like I was saying, I'm so glad that my daughter gets to grow up in this world where she has more options to decide what kind of life she wants. I think when I grew up, I felt like there was only like a couple of options, like 1 or 2 options. You know, like, it's true. I mean, really, like now it's like, man, and I didn't even take, and here's the irony, I didn't even take those options. I went to school, I went to college, I went to graduate school, and then I went off and made my own career. So I did exactly what I'm hoping that she'll do, which I've actually said. People used to tell me, "Oh, do you want your daughter to get involved in the sport, in bodybuilding? You're gonna have her because she's." And I said, I'm never gonna push it on her. I'm like, right,
you're just gonna support whatever she decides.
Yeah, if she wants to, because she asked me once. She wanted me to get back on stage. She asked me this last year, and I said, "Oh," she said, I said, "Why, honey?" And she said, "Well, because I wanted." She says, "I want to see you compete," because she went with me to the Chicago Pro, and she saw some people that I was helping, and she saw some of my friends that got on stage, and and she was kind of excited for them, and I think she wanted that to be me. So I said, Daddy's kind of done with that, but I do. But if she ever wanted to, I guess I would absolutely always be there to help her. But I would never encourage her mostly because this kind of sounds funny because I'm so involved in it, but it's because it's a sport of judgment. There's so much, and it could give, especially girls, oftentimes they get I don't want to skew her sense of self. How she sees herself. I want her to look at herself, no matter how old she is, no matter how much she weighs, no matter what she looks like, and I want her to not compare herself to anybody else, but to see the beauty that I see. And it wouldn't matter if she's like 110 pounds or 210 pounds, or she looks like Miss Figure Olympia like yourself, or she looks like just like nobody who doesn't compete at all. I don't care. I want her to see what I see. And in order to do that, because I know when I entered into bodybuilding, and you could probably echo this as well, you really start seeing yourself. You start looking at yourself differently because you're going to be judged. You have to bring up attributes. You got to look a certain way. And so you literally change or form your own identity of how you want to look based on judging standards, based on these kinds of things. Whereas, so I don't want her to. I wouldn't want her to have that on her if she
wouldn't encourage.
Right, unless only if she wanted it. If that's what she wanted, and that's her journey, then I'm there for her. But
and then you got to set her down and let her know what could take place if she decides to do that.
Right. Exactly.
That's the thing, because a lot of people don't tell us or you don't have people that can be like, hey, I did it and this is what happened mentally. This is how you're going to be. You don't really have anybody kind of to tell you what to expect as a competitor.
So what would you tell yourself? Like, what if you can go back to yourself when you first compete? Like, what would you say? Hey, tell yourself. What would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself that, hey, you are beautiful. You are you are beautiful, and unfortunately, like you were saying, we are in a sport that's subjective and that you are being judged. But I never let it get to me at the time. I mean, only recently being at the top, it did get to me of, okay, I got to look like this. I got to be like this. I got to be like that. And maybe that's why I had that little, speed bump, that little bump in the road to kind of like take me back and be like, no, you were great before that, and
you're still great. Yeah,
and you're still great. Exactly. But that's what I would say is just, love yourself and know you are amazing no matter what happens. And I would actually tell myself too, and tell other people out there listening, is that placing doesn't determine who you are and how great you are. Those judges. You come on that stage controlling what you can control. Anybody outside looking in that doesn't know what's going on, behind that judging panel, they'll think you're amazing. They'll think you're number one, and which you should think that about yourself too.
Absolutely.
So that's what I would say. Yeah.
I think that's good. I think if I was to go back in time, I'd probably just tell myself just to take it easy. Just like, don't take shit so seriously. Don't take stuff so seriously.
Don't take it so seriously.
I think I took myself too seriously for too many years. And then I spent the last several years, reverse engineering a lot of stuff in my head. But that's okay. It encouraged me to learn about me. And
it's all a lesson.
And what was good for me and what was not good for me. What would you say was a lesson that you took away if you like said, hey, look, this was the lesson that was good for me? Like what? Because you said before that some of these medical challenges you've had in the past, and also this last 2 years have been challenging, but they've been good for you as well inside. How would you reflect that outward? Like, what kind of lessons have you learned in your process that have made you better as a person? Because I know I'm sure you feel that way.
Was made me better. I'm just sitting back and just enjoying my life, enjoying the people around me, being grateful for those people, living my life the way that I want to. Expressing myself the way that I want to, and just doing what's best for me. Just really taking myself, putting myself first.
You should. Everybody should. I love it. I love it when I hear people. I think one of the things I was always criticized when I was younger was they would say, "Oh, Dad, you're so selfish," because the sport obviously can be very, very consuming, self-consuming. Yeah. In all areas of. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that being selfish is all that bad. Being self-interested only can be.
That's a big difference. That's a good way to put it and really put it out there.
But we have to be selfish. I can't look out for anybody really but myself. I can uplift others. I can add value to others' experience. But man, they're in charge of their life. They're really the ones in charge. I can't.
They should be selfish.
They should be selfish. So when somebody calls me selfish, I always laugh. I mean, although not too many people do that, but when I hear it, I always laugh because I think, oh wow, like the idea of really even calling somebody out on that really begs the question: who's really being selfish? What you really ask when somebody says you're being selfish. What they're really asking is, you need to pay attention to me instead of yourself. Who's really being more selfish?
Gotcha,
the person requiring the attention, or the person who's already given it to themselves? I would say that, really what you're being, I would tell them you're being self-interested, exclusively self-interested, because you expect the world or myself to cater to your feelings. And I get it. I want everyone to feel good, but it's not my job.
It's not.
It's not. It's none of our jobs. And as an athlete,
you can do your part.
Yes, you can do your part. Yes,
you can do your part. Yeah.
But as an athlete, especially somebody who a lot of people see, and who a lot of people, and everyone's got an opinion. I'm sure we get a lot of wonderful things that come to us, like wonderful compliments, wonderful encouragement, wonderful support, and then we get some things that are like, okay, that aren't so sometimes encouraging, or that are criticisms of our life, of our process. And I think that's a little short-sighted. because you never know what kind of journey somebody goes through. I haven't really had a lot of this. Well, I did have one guy actually. I'll share this with everybody because I'm sure he'll be interested to hear this because he's probably gonna listen to this episode because he's made a comment on my podcast, a couple of them that says, "Oh yeah, that I talk too much," and that it's not really about me. Well, actually, it is about me. It's my podcast.
Right.
It's like,
go get your own podcast, guy.
But I get what he's saying. He wants to hear from the guest, and I give people lots of time to talk. But I think it's kind of funny. I think it's always funny because I always try to take everything seriously, without being being derogatory towards myself or anything like that. Because my intentions are always good. But having said that, what's next for you? What's the biggest thing for you that's moving forward? I'm going to warn you. I have a couple of questions that I ask that I'm trying to get these standardized type of questions that are kind of funny but kind of good, and I'm going to ask them right after this. But what? And that's I'm trying to end with a theme.
Okay.
But so I'm asking for you moving forward this next year, what's big, what's coming up, what can people see, where can people see you, or how can they sort of see if they want to partake in your boot camps or whatnot?
I will definitely let people know I'm moving forward with it. And I would post and put up, Of course, everybody should know my handle would just be my name, Latorya Watts. But I would post and just keep everyone informed and let them know, Okay. But that's my main goal and my main focus is to move forward with that. I'll probably will have another one. I just had a women's mixer. It was somewhat like I said, a women empowerment, but not only were we doing a boot camp and really partaking in a fitness hour, we also had a social hour where women amongst the group kind of could talk to each other, let them know as far as products or businesses or service that they were providing. They can kind of talk amongst each other and exchange information that way. And I really enjoyed that. So I will more than likely have another one. I'm not sure of the date just yet. I will be going back to Korea in October and also holding an event there as well. And hopefully just, skyrocket from there, just really visit a lot more places, really get to interact with other women from all over the world. That's a real big goal and focus for me.
That is awesome. You might consider getting a hold of either, I guess it would be Tamer or somebody there who's running the Olympia stuff now. And maybe you can do a women's empowerment sort of session where you can talk or something like that, and maybe give some tips or whatever you may want to, however you may want it. But that would be a great forum for it because people from all over are going to come to Olympia. You'll be there, and it'll be a great way to get a lot of people together, a lot of ladies together, and encourage them and help them in some way. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, we don't.
All right, so that leads to my first question, which is,
I'm like, what is this?
They're easy questions. This first question is a no-brainer. What do you consider if you were to survey your life today? What's your biggest blessing today?
And
why?
My biggest blessing?
Yeah, your biggest blessing in life. Again, this is just for today. Your mind, I will allow you to change your mind.
So my biggest blessing in my life, and
because tomorrow you can say, "Oh yeah, I thought of a better answer."
Oh, that's so true. That's so true. But I would say my biggest blessing is just life and my family.
Oh, okay.
Just the people around me. Yeah.
In what way? Tell me about that.
Let's see. Just, I don't know. That's my happiness. That's my go-to. My family is my go-to. And my support team, just my family, my friends, the people around me, my husband, just that's my biggest blessing because I know I can always go to them. I know to them I am Latorya. That's it. I'm nobody else. They could be honest with me about anything without caring about anything I say or do from that point. So I would feel that's one of the biggest blessings that I have today.
It's kind of funny because the way you answer that. You could be just Latorya, which is funny because that's who you're gonna be no matter what. But I get what you mean. There's a feeling that there's some expectations set on you.
There's expectations from them. So they don't care.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes people forget that because of what you've achieved. There's going to be when somebody new interacts with you, a fan or somebody, then there's always this almost like this unwritten or unsaid level of expectation that we sometimes feel when people come to us.
Okay.
Is that? I'm guessing that's what you're kind of referring to, or you're kind of talking about. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, I would say I would say what I meant by that is just I have people in my life that will bring me back to reality.
Okay.
That'll always keep me humbled. So that's my blessing.
Well, when it comes to the biggest blessings, and then what about your biggest hurdle or obstacle that you foresee in the future, or that you've had in the past? It could be either.
My biggest obstacle that I had to overcome.
Yeah. Or maybe one that you see, or maybe one you see coming up. It could just be. So, I mean, you can put it past, present, or you can put it future. It's up to you.
Interesting.
And how are you gonna? And how did you handle it, or how will you handle it, so to speak?
That's a tough one.
I didn't know that would be so tough.
I was, because it's like I feel like I have so many.
Well, so just pick one.
So many. Let me see. Should I go back to, I don't know, maybe even getting into this sport?
Okay.
That was a big obstacle for me, I would say, because of my insecurities.
Really? That surprises me.
Yeah. I had major insecurities in junior high school and high school of my physique.
Really?
I used to wear the baggiest clothes and the baggiest jeans. I always hid my body because it was different.
Isn't that ironic? And that you would be venerated for your body today.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was Miss Olympia. I was like, whatever, this is something I'm doing for me personally. There's no way I'll go beyond that.
Right.
So that would be the biggest obstacle, stepping on stage. That big fear of being in a two-piece and stepping on stage and letting all these people see something I was so insecure of. That would be one of the biggest obstacles for me.
I remember speaking with you at that New York Pro that you won, and it was after the show, and I remember telling you, no, it might have been sometime before that, and I told you that I thought you were going to win. And you said, "Oh, you really think so?" And I remember thinking to myself, I don't think she knows how good she is. That was the first thing that I was like, I really, that energy just came right out. And I'm like, you were really pleasant, of course, and very, very nice. But it just struck me so odd that I could see somebody on stage who was a head and shoulders above everybody else from a physique standpoint. And then you can walk off stage and win and still not really feel that.
And
in that moment.
Yeah. That's what's so crazy about the success I've had and wanting to hold on to it. Like, wow, I'm getting acknowledged, or I'm getting rewarded for something I was so insecure about. I got to hold on to this as long as I can. So having the medical scare and having the issues I've had just really, messed with me.
Did it feel like, I'm curious, did it feel like I knew it? Like, you know how you kind of say that yourself, like, I knew this was too good to be true. Something bad was going to happen.
No, I never want to put that out there, but I knew it had to be a reason. And at the time, again, it was like, oh, maybe it just isn't meant for me, or, maybe there's just something else I'm meant to do. That's what it was. And then I just had to sit back and be like, no, there's a reason. There's a reason for everything. I always said that I could be so much better. I could be so much better. I could be so much better. So now I had this thing happen to me that's going to make me so much better.
Exactly.
And that's what it was. Yeah.
That's good. I think that's a really wonderful philosophy and a wonderful attitude to take towards, because I think a lot of people, they experience challenges and they just sort of roll into the negative nature of it sometimes. Yeah.
It's easy to do.
It's easy to do. Very easy. Because, well, I mean, I think there's enough of it going around, enough negativity going around that we could easily catch a whiff of it.
so much negativity, so much bullying, so much insecurities out there, And again, we're in this era where it's affecting the younger generation to where they're killing themselves, right?
I know. That's I used to read when I was in high school. I remember I took a Japanese course. I'm Japanese, and I took a Japanese course because I wanted to learn a little bit of Japanese. And then the instructor, she was from Japan, and she was telling us about the students there. So in high school, so they'll go to these college entrance exams. So here we don't really have entrance exams. We do SATs and ACTs and stuff like that. But there you have to, if you want to go to the big university like Tokyo University, which is like very prestigious, and you enter and then you take a test, and if you might qualify, you might not. You have to get good grades. So everything's about getting good grades. Everything's about acing this test. And they literally study their asses off from the time they can start studying until the time they get into college to get in there. And the ones that don't make it, there's a high suicide rate. Like they literally will kill themselves. And it's because they don't see their future. Now their future is disrupted. And coming from where your history what would you say to somebody like that? Like, I've often struggled, like, how do you respond to that? Like, gosh, like.
And I'm left speechless because I don't know what can you say to that? I mean, sometimes that's the culture, right?
Yes, yeah, very much so.
Yeah. So what can you say to that? That's really hard.
It's very difficult. I think sometimes we tend to sort of take this all or none approach here in the Western world too. Like if I can't, like I hear this, like, well, I'm going to start on Monday. Or if I can't be perfect with something, I'm not going to do it at all.
I'm not going to do it.
And it's like, wow, man, like that's really self-defeating. So I know you don't really have that attitude, but what would you say to somebody who had that kind of attitude, who's wanting to get involved in fitness, or had the same kinds of maybe insecurities that you might have had with your body, and what would you say to them?
I had that too. I was just recently at it was a junior high school, Mulaski Junior High School. A friend of mine wanted me to come and speak to her kids, and I did. It was about April 1st. I remember that because I was scared to go because it was April 1st.
Oh, you're like...
And I was like, what the hell are these kids going to do for April 1st? So anyway, so I went and I had this girl. I was telling them the story about how I was insecure in junior high school, leading up to high school, and pretty much until the time I stepped on stage. I was letting them know how insecure I was and how this is just something that was just so random to me that I would be acknowledged for my physique that I was so afraid of. So anyway, so she came to me after and she was like, I'm so insecure about my calves and about, certain parts of my body. What should I do? And I was like, just love yourself and just learn from me. Know that you're unique. You're you. Nobody can be you. And you're already winning at that point. That is your power. So I just let her know that. And she messaged me. She found me on Instagram after, and she was like, oh my God, thank you so much. I feel so good about what you said to me. And you're right. I'm going to show off my calves. And she said, I'm going to love my body. Thank you. So it was meant for me to go through the things. Me being who I am, it's way bigger. Me winning those titles, it's way bigger than me. It's way bigger than anything I could think of, because maybe it is me and my voice to get out there for all the women that are insecure or lack that confidence, and just let them know, hey, I had that too. You're not alone. I'm going through the same thing. We're all human. I went through that too. But look, I've overcome. It's not something you can just come out of, but you just have to really be positive and believe in yourself. And know that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, is this kind of a common thing for you when you grew up? I mean, I was lucky that my mother gave me these messages. I heard a lot of the messages that I find myself saying, in some way, shape, or form, it's like my mother's voice is back there somewhere. Did you have that? In your upbringing, did you have this strong sort of sense of self?
From my family, or just me in general?
Just you in general. I mean, I assume it has to come from your family to a certain degree, but you in general.
I was kind of that person. I was kind of a loner and kind of kept my feelings to myself.
Oh, really? Okay. That's surprising.
And maybe express myself in a certain way. So like I was saying, I would just be like, okay, well, people are probably going to think I'm weird if I say this. And sometimes it was kind of like a thing of, what am I insecure about? I just knew I was different. I looked different. I used to even I failed PE because I didn't want to dress out.
Hold on. So a figure Olympia champion fails PE. That's the headline.
I failed physical education because I would not dress out, because I would see all the other girls and their bodies and knew that I looked different. And I just didn't want to start taking any of that.
Were you heavy or something, or were you just not?
No, genetically, I just had this structure. I always had probably like the bigger calves as well, or the bigger legs, or just a little bit of muscle. I'll never forget this one time I was in physical ed, and he did a fat test.
Okay.
And he was like, "You barely have any fat." I remember that. All that stuff is all beautiful now and works well with what I do. But back then, it was just like the odd looks.
Yeah. I want to be like those other girls.
Yeah, I didn't look like them. That's the thing. I didn't look like them. So for me not to look like the majority was like an insecurity of mine. So I would just keep those thoughts to myself. I was the only child. I was a loner pretty much. So I would just keep those things to myself. I mean, I had fun, and it benefited me when I would tussle and wrestle and race with my male cousins. But when it came to, my femininity, it was something that I didn't know how to express, or didn't know I had, or just kind of kept it to myself.
Yeah, I think a lot.
So like my family probably didn't even know I struggled.
Oh, well, I think a lot of young ladies today, especially today, have this sort of similar kind of insecurity about their bodies, about themselves, because of what they see. I read this thing about how social media affects specifically women in the millennials, but specifically the women. Doesn't seem to affect the boys, the guys very much. But the women it does, because women do one thing differently that guys don't do at these formative ages, between the ages of like 11 and like 16, 17, 18. And what they do is the ladies will compare. They compare themselves to other ladies or other girls that's their same age, or who
without knowing.
Without knowing, like, man, this isn't even them you're looking at. Like,
that's what I'm saying. So I'm in physical ed in the dressing room looking and being like, all right, I don't look like that. So I'm not dressing out today, or I'm going to keep my clothes on that I have today, and I'll just fail PE.
Oh, wow. It's kind of funny.
It was crazy. It was rough. I had a rough time as a kid.
Yeah, well, I can relate. I remember I was always a small kid too, and I can remember I did not do well in PE, but for different reasons. Because I remember I went, why am I not? I would get A's and everything else, but PE I would get like a C. I'm like, how come I'm getting a C? I'm like, why am I getting a C?
Right?
Not in junior high. It's like in junior high. And I remember asking, and I remember talking to my coach, and he would and I asked him, like, I don't understand, like, I do everything what everybody else does. Now you got to remember, at that time in my life, I was 12, 13 years old. I was about 78, 79 pounds. I was very short. I was a little Japanese kid, and I couldn't sweat. So I literally would go out there and play basketball, do all the sports, and I just went, because I'm not very big. My core temperature wouldn't heat up enough. So he would look at me and he would tell me, "You're not working hard enough." You know? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like working just as hard as everybody else. So I thought it was completely unfair.
That's unfair for sure.
Ironic. And then I remember this is how our society is, like how it's kind of weirdly prejudiced. It kind of I remember that same time I lived in Vegas, and my mother had a directive on our babysitter, said, when the boys get home from school, they can't be outside. It's too hot in the summers or during that time of year when it's really hot, because we would overheat really fast, and we would like throw up, and like we would get like heat flash, like bad, like it would really, really bad. So I remember she took us to the doctor, asked the doctor, like, oh, is there something I could do? And he said, it's because they're Asian.
Oh.
He said, they just don't sweat. Their sweat glands aren't developed yet. And I'm like, now today I know, like, that's bullshit. Like, what? Like, my sweat glands develop differently than somebody else's sweat glands? Like, give me a break. I'm like, he just didn't have an answer for my mother. Well,
best thing he could think of.
That was and my mother like, oh, she thought that was the answer. And I remember her telling me, yeah.
But you at the time was like, nope.
I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm the other guy. That don't make no sense. Of course, today I know, like, that is just totally bogus. But well, hey, thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend with me and to talk with me. Tell everybody where they can reach you on I know your Instagram is pretty obvious. It's Latorya Watts, right? At Latorya Watts.
Yes. Instagram, Facebook, Latorya Watts. Yes. And they can be free to DM me. I feel like I get my direct messages off of Instagram way easier than I do on Facebook, with a lot of the changes that are going on with that. Yeah. So if they ever want to reach out to me, direct message me on Instagram, and I'm usually pretty quick to answer.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then where are they going to see you next? Like at the Olympia or somewhere else during?
I would love to step on that stage this year. Like I said, my main mission is just to get healthy and to get in the best shape that I can. I would love to be there. If for some reason I'm not competing, I will be at Olympia for sure. I'll also be at the USAs this year. If anybody's going to be there or attending the USAs, I will be there supporting and hopefully be backstage just to give a little inspiration and motivation to the athletes. But I will be there, and Olympia for sure.
Actually, side comment, that's one of the best side benefits of being a champion in our sport, is that you do have the option and opportunity to be able to encourage so many people who are listening.
That's the best part.
It's one of the best parts. I really do feel it really is. Until you start getting the comments that I get, which are like, "Hey, I've been following you since I was a kid," and I'm like, "Fuck, am I that old?" I'm like, thanks.
But they still are following you, though.
I guess that's the good news, right? Well, thank you again, Latorya, and congratulations again on your wedding. I know I'm a year late or whatever.
You're fine. You're fine. Like I said, it wasn't anything that was out there, so you're fine.
and I know no matter what, I really, 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 really do hope to see you on stage, because I still believe, and this is coming from me, a judge. I'm telling you that I really do believe that you have such a wonderful physique. It deserves to be on stage, and it absolutely deserves to win the Olympia a few more times. I really do think that you have structurally one of the best physiques that I've ever seen in the figure stage, period. That's the truth. So no matter what your future holds, I'll always be a fan, personally, as a friend, as well as somebody in the industry as well. So
I appreciate that, Tad, very much. Thank you so much for reaching out, just to, first of all, to get me on your podcast and just to follow up and to catch up with you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Hang on after I stop the recording, and because I want to talk to you for just quick seconds. But thank you again. I'll put in my notes section, I'll put where people can reach you, and I will hope to see you sometime this year. Probably most likely if you're not competing, but probably at the Olympia if you're not.
Okay. So you won't be judging? You won't be judging the USAs?
No. But okay. And I don't know if I'm not sure if I'll even going to go to the USA. I have several other shows I have to go to. So.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, again, thanks so much. This has been awesome. I really always enjoy my conversations with you, and I think you're just so wonderful. And good luck this coming year. And I really do hope to see you doing some more women's empowerment stuff. I think that's a wonderful idea. If there's anything that I can do to help with that or to be involved in it, I'm more than willing to do it. Absolutely. I have a strong, it's a big piece for me. In fact, I would love to do it and take my daughter with me and do because it would be just something that I think she needs to see. I just think she needs to see these things, see women who are successful and who are creating their own destinies and creating their own way of life that they want. This is stuff that I think is so important for us all, but mostly, but also for women.
Yeah, so. It's tough for us, right? But so it definitely needs to happen. More so.
I was watching Joe Rogan. He does a stand-up thing, and he was joking around about he was saying women, they were talking about being equal and stuff, and he said women, you guys, you don't get it. He goes, you guys make all the people. He goes, he's like,
you should have more power. That's true.
You guys make all the people. He's like, yeah. We might run this shit. He said, but you guys make all the people.
Yeah, right.
So,
got a point.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful rest of the day. Hang on real quick, but thank you again so much, Latorya. It's been awesome.
Oh, it has been. Thank you.
Handle your high with Tadayoshi.